Serena Williams bounced the ball exactly 5 times before every first serve, exactly twice before every second serve, every point, every match for more than 20 years. If the count broke, she started over. She wore the same pair of socks through an entire tournament, 2 full weeks, unwashed. People laughed and called it superstition. It was not superstition. It was a machine for erasing the last point from her brain. And that machine is a big reason she climbed out of a hospital bed and became the greatest of all time. In the next 10 minutes, I will show you how the machine works. The night her career hit rock bottom in Paris, and the simple version you can run tomorrow morning. No tennis ball required. It is called the reset ritual. Here is where the story starts. Not with a trophy, but with a piece of broken glass. In the summer of 2010, Serena had just won Wimbledon. She was the best player on the planet. Days later, she stepped on broken glass while leaving a restaurant. The cuts were deep, and she needed stitches, then surgery, then a second surgery. She spent 10 weeks in a cast and 10 more in a walking boot. The best athlete in her sport could not walk to her own mailbox. Then it got worse, much worse. In February of 2011, doctors found blood clots in her lungs. A pulmonary embolism, the kind of thing that kills people in their sleep. Days later, blood pooled under the skin of her stomach. It started the size of a golf ball. It grew to the size of a grapefruit. She needed emergency treatment. She later called it the scariest moment of her life. She was not thinking about tennis. She was thinking about staying alive. Stay with me, because the rock bottom moment is still coming. And what she did the very next morning is the whole lesson. Think about what a year like that does to a person. She missed almost 12 months of tennis. Younger players took her ranking. Riders moved on to new names. Every day in that walking boot was a day her rivals were training. Most careers do not survive a gap like that. Hers was supposed to be over twice. First the foot, then the lungs. She fought her way back through the rest of that year, slowly and painfully. And by the spring of 2012, she looked ready. She arrived at the French Open as one of the favorites. In the first round, she faced a French player named Virginie Razzano. Razzano was ranked outside the top 100. Nobody gave her a chance. Serena took the first set. In the second set tiebreak, she led 5 points to 1. She stood 2 points from the win 9 separate times. 9 times the door was open, and 9 times it slammed shut. Razzano took the second set, and she took the third. Serena Williams lost in the first round of a major. It had never happened to her before, not once in her entire career. The greatest of all time, gone before the tournament even started. Reporters wrote that she was finished. She was 30 years old, and in tennis years, that was ancient. And here is the part most people would understand. She could have flown home. She could have spent a month replaying those 9 match points in her head. That is what most of us do with our failures. We rewind the tape, and we watch the miss again and again. She did the opposite. She stayed in Paris. She cried hard for a night. And then she showed up at a small tennis academy outside the city and asked a coach named Patrick Mouratoglou if she could just hit some balls. No contract, no plan, just a court, a basket of balls, and a clean slate. The worst loss of her career, and her answer was to reset and swing again. 5 weeks later, she won Wimbledon. Weeks after that, on the same grass, she won Olympic gold in singles, and she destroyed the field to get it. Then she flew to New York and won the U.S. Open. One season, the season right after the worst loss of her life. She won 7 titles that year, more than anyone else on tour. The player they called finished had just played the best stretch of tennis of her career. So it actually changed. Not her serve and not her fitness. What changed is that she treated the disaster the same way she treated a lost point. She buried it. She ran her ritual, and she played the next point. That is the reset ritual, and now I want to zoom in on it, because it hides in that strange little serve routine. Here is the pattern interrupt. Researchers who study choking under pressure have tested athletes with and without a fixed pre-shot routine. Golfers, dart players, Basketball players at the free throw line. The pattern shows up again and again. Under pressure, the players with a locked routine hold up. The players without one fall apart. The routine is not magic. It gives your brain one simple job to do, so there is no room left for the replay of the last mistake. Your working memory is tiny. It can only hold a few things at once. If the last mistake is sitting in one of those slots, it is stealing fuel from the next move. A routine fills the slots with something harmless. Bounce. Breathe. Count. The replay has nowhere to live. That is what the 5 bounces were. Watch old footage of Serena, and you can see it. She loses an ugly point, and she turns her back to the net. She walks to the towel, or she stares at her strings. That is the burial. The point is dead, and she is walking away from the grave. Then she steps to the line and starts the count. 5 bounces, same rhythm, same breath. By bounce 5, the last point does not exist anymore. There is only the next serve. The socks, the shoelaces tied the same way, all of it points the same direction. Keep everything the same, so your mind can let go of what just happened. Now here is the problem with the way most of us live. We play every point of our day carrying the last one. You send a bad email in the morning, and you rewrite it in your head until lunch. You blow one meeting, and you limp through the next 3. You snap at your kid at breakfast, and the guilt rides with you all day. The last point stays alive, and it quietly steals every point that comes after it. One mistake becomes 5, not because you lack skill, but because you never reset. Poker players have a name for this. They call it tilt. A player loses one big hand, and the sting of that hand starts making the decisions. He chases losses, he bets angry, and he plays hands he would never touch with a clear head. One bad beat turns into a ruined night. Casinos love a player on tilt. Life punishes you the same way. Tilt is just a fancy word for playing this point while still trapped inside the last one. So let us build your version. The reset ritual has 3 moves. Move 1. Bury the point. The moment something ends, good or bad, mark the ending with your body. Serena turned her back on the court. You can close the laptop lid, stand up, walk to the window, and exhale hard once. It sounds too small to matter. It is not. The physical act tells your brain the file is closed. You're not allowed to argue with a buried point. It is gone. Move 2. Run your count. Build one short sequence you repeat before every serve of your day. Before every meeting, every hard phone call, every work block. Keep it stupid simple. 3 slow breaths. Write the single goal of the next hour on a sticky note. Take a sip of water and begin. The content does not matter. The sameness is the whole trick. Same count, same order, every single time until it runs on its own. Move 3. Play the next point only. Shrink the game. Not the season, not the match, not even the set, just the point in front of you. When Serena walked into that academy in Paris, she was not chasing Wimbledon. She was hitting 1 basket of balls. The next point is the only one you can still win. So put everything you have into that one and nothing into the ones already buried. Bury the point. Run your count. Play the next point only. That is the whole machine. And notice where it works. Before a job interview, after a question you fumbled. In the gym, after a lift you missed, or on a sales call, right after a no. In an argument with someone you love, when the last sentence came out wrong. Anywhere life is played 1 point at a time, which is everywhere, the ritual travels with you. It costs nothing, it takes seconds, and it compounds. Now here is your test. Tonight, ask yourself 3 questions. 1. Where in my day do I carry a dead point into a live one? Name the exact moment, the email, the meeting, the argument. 2. What is my burial move? Pick one physical act that means it is over. 3. What is my count? Pick 3 small steps you will run before every important block tomorrow. Write them down. Then tomorrow morning, run the ritual once on purpose. That is it. 1 serve at a time. If this earned it, subscribe. It genuinely helps the channel, and it tells me to keep making these. And you will want the next one. Because next episode is about a company that invented the future, then locked it in a drawer because it could not bury its last point. Kodak built one of the first digital cameras decades before your phone had one. They protected its old film business all the way into bankruptcy. The trap that killed it is called the sunk cost fallacy. And the same trap is quietly running parts of your life right now. That story is next. Sharper thinking, one model at a time.